is Tuesday, December 10th, 2024, 7:31 p.m. sharp. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Hidden Oaks Overdose Football Fix podcast. I am one of your lovely hosts, the Garlic Johnson. We are joined, as always, by our other lovely hostess, the Joshua Mitchell. Josh, how you doing?
Hi. How you doing?
All right, we love that he's doing. We love that people are doing in our Discord. We love what Levi Oki is doing at Levi Oki Illustration on Instagram, and we love, we love Joshua Mitchell. Josh, what has been up with you these past couple weeks? How really are you? You know?
Well, I'd be here. I'd be doing podding. I'd be hanging in there. I'd be winning games. Not. How be ye?
You know what? I would say I'm doing all right. I spent a lovely weekend up in up at my friend's cabin up in Ely, Minnesota. So right there by the Canadian border, we were heckin' close. It was a beautiful winter wonderland. They have a lovely log cabin, beautiful fireplace. It was snowing up there, so that was beautiful. It was literally just, log cabin surrounded by woods. And the woods are, pine trees that are frosted in the snowfall. It was genuinely beautiful and amazing. Up until my taco move that we'll talk about in a moment. But I had a wonderful weekend up in Ely, hanging out with some friends. So that was good. Played a lot of games. Otherwise I'm doing good, man. It feels like Christmas only being 2 weeks away is absolutely ludicrous, but we're here.
Yeah.
How's the Odenmeister doing?
He's hanging in there. It's 9 days. He has a doctor's appointment on Thursday to get his pre-blood work done and stuff. So hopefully that goes well. But other than that, he's hanging in there. Still trying to hobble around on 3 legs, but he gets the job done.
Gotcha. Understandable. And are you sure you're okay, Josh?
Yeah.
All right, we'll just pretend that you're not super melancholy the whole show. You got it. Josh, are you ready to move on to some Taco Tuesday?
Yeah. Gar, you go ahead, because I've actually got a piece that we can work on here.
All right, you got it, sir. Mine is just going to be, it's not going to be fantasy related or real football related because the Vikings dominated. The greatest, worst, best failure of an 11-2 team, Minnesota Vikings. But instead, we will talk about me, like I just alluded to a moment ago. Beautiful weekend up in Ely, except we decided to stay until the day it was supposed to snow, like all night beforehand. And so Monday morning rolls around, and because I had taken Monday off, I was like, you know what, we'll stay one night longer. We won't have to deal with any potential traffic. Everyone going down to the cities on Sunday, yada yada. But then it snowed all Sunday night, and then come Monday morning, the person has, of course, it's a cabin in the woods surrounded by trees, so they have one of those long, narrow driveways. And it's a little bit hilly, and the little sedan I was driving could not get up the hill for the life of me. So there was 4 of us total. We were sitting there shoveling, putting sand, this and that. So it's great to be up in a cabin in the woods, but if you drive a little sedan, you probably shouldn't allow yourself to get snowed in, because it was a whole ass process just trying to get that car out of there, dude. Oh my god. And that's my taco.
Yeah, well, good for you for getting out. I assume you made it home safe. You're not podcasting from a cabin in the woods.
You know what? You'd be surprised, but no, I'm at home. They did have internet at their cabin, which was really nice.
Wow. Who is this rich friend?
Oh, would you like to know, Josh?
Was it T?
No. T doesn't have fucking internet in the cabin in the woods and Ely kind of money. He's just a cop, dude.
Was it Greg Jennings?
Yes.
Okay. Those are my only 2 guesses.
Yeah, the 2 most reasonable guesses.
Yeah. So, Gar, we're going to do a time travel redraft because, let's face it, my entire year has been tacos, week in, week out. I don't know if you noticed this, but I allowed you to just absolutely throttle me this week to give me that most points for, or most points against. So
yeah, I thought you were supposed to be playing spoiler or something.
Yeah, I spoiled myself. And then I soiled myself. Yep. But now we're going to do a time travel redraft. So no QBs in the first, just kind of a given rule for most drafts. No looking it up. So don't pull up ESPN scoring and then sort. and I want you to go through your first round. Who should be the first 12 picks? And then I'm going to do the same because I haven't looked it up either.
Ooh, God. Okay, this is fun. Shoot, I wish I had a better. I have not been paying much attention. I mean, Saquon. You were saying no quarterbacks. I think Saquon has to go 1-on-1, right? I assume we're doing a 12-man league also before I go too far.
I did say 12 picks.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm not a very good listener, Josh. You should know this by now. All right. So Saquon, I feel like has to go number 1. Jamar probably number 2. And after that, it gets really messy for me. Like I said, I have not, I'm sure I'm about to hear about it from Al, but I have not paid that much attention. Yeah, I don't know. I think I have to go. Jahmyr Gibbs is up here. That's 3. I will go CeeDee Lamb 4. I will go. Oh man, this is tough. I think he's injured now, but just for the whole season, Derrick Henry 5. Joe Mixon, no, probably Derrick Henry 6, Joe Mixon 5. Sorry, Joe Mixon has had a decent season, right? Oh man, 7. This is tough. Obviously, you springing it on me is better for me not looking it up and me not cheating, but me having absolutely zero preparation also makes me feel bad. Okay, all right. So number 7, we're going to go. I don't fucking know, man. We'll go. Did I already say JJ? Have I said Justin Jefferson yet? I don't think I have. Are you keeping track of what I say so I don't repeat?
Yeah, I'm writing them down.
Okay, thank God. Thank you for your beautiful face, Josh. All right, so we will go JJ. Puka was injured. Otherwise, I'd say Puka, but that's just because I know he blew up. I mean, a real sneaky pick might be someone like Tyrone Tracy out of... I don't know. He's had a really good year out of the Giants. So maybe I'll pick him at 8 just because I don't want to sit here and just stumble over myself for names for the whole time. Mike Evans, I think, has to be up there. So we'll say he's 9. 10, I'll go. Oh boy. 10, I'll go. Oh my God, Josh, why are you doing this to me? I'll go someone like Jaden Reed. I don't know. I have him on a couple teams, and he's been pretty solid every week up until this last week. I think Mike Evans was 9, or where was Mike Evans?
You didn't say Evans, so I must have missed Evans. So yeah, okay. Evans 9.
Evans 9. Jaden Reed 10. Devon A-Chain 11, and then. Oh no, really is. Ooh, they're probably not in the top 12, but I just genuinely am racking my brain for names, and I can't come up with them. So I'll just say, I think Calvin Ridley's had a pretty good year, right? We'll go Calvin Ridley at 12. I have no idea. Oh, Calvin Ridley's probably had a trash year, hasn't he? Oh well, I already said it.
All right. Well, we disagree on some here. I'm still thinking of my 10 and 11.
But this is also, again, me having absolutely no threshold. I'm sure I can pull up.
Yeah, I came down and I typed it in as like a play, and I thought of it at like 7 o'clock. So it's not like I had much prep time either.
Sure. But I'm going to pull up the rankings now while you're thinking of yours, just see how bad I did. But go ahead.
Yeah. So then, yeah, I was trying to just think of the injuries, but so I have. So you had Barkley, Jamar, Gibbs, Lamb, Mixon, Henry, JJ, Tyrone Tracy, Mike Evans, Jaden Reed, Devon Achane, and Calvin Ridley. I went Barkley. That's kind of the consensus. Then Jamar, obviously, his game last night definitely helped that. Then I went Mixon, Henry, Lamb, JJ, Gibbs, Achane, Evans, Tyreek, Amon-Ra, and A.J. Brown.
Ooh, how did I forget Amon-Ra or A.J.? Jesus, dude. I forgot both the Brown receivers. Okay. Yep.
But that was my 12. So I don't know if you it's probably easier for me to pull it up since I have it written down. But yeah, I mean, Jaden Reed did not have that good of a season. He put up a 0 burger last week. So that was fun to watch.
Did it hurt your soul?
Mine, Nikita's, yeah, but mine, it hurt my soul in leagues that don't matter. So
okay, so I just pulled up. It was, oh, bro, we both forgot Alvin Kamara. Jesus. Okay. Anyways.
Oh, geez, yeah. That would have been. That probably would replace my AJ Brown then at 12. If
yeah, certainly get rid of my fucking Calvin Ridley. Anyways, I pulled up just from our ESPN league. I pulled up the scoring. Says the full PPR. So actually, Jamar Chase is in first. He has 317 points on the season, and then it's Saquon Barkley second. Third is Derrick Henry. Fourth is Alvin Kamara. Fifth is Bijan Robinson. We both forgot. Jamar Gibbs is 6. Justin Jefferson 7. Devon Achane 8. Josh Jacobs 9. Amon-Ra St. Brown 10. Kyron Williams 11. CeeDee Lamb 12. We both said Joe Mixon. He was down at 14. And then, obviously we said a couple other names that are just nowhere near, but.
Yeah, I forgot Mixon missed a couple games as well, so that's probably why his standings are like that. CeeDee Lamb obviously has had Cooper Rush throwing, which hasn't been pretty. Yeah, I completely forgot about Bijan just because he hasn't.
Has the third best average. Sorry, just to validate your point of him missing games. He has the third best per game average per ESPN.
Okay, yeah. If we were to do that, then yeah, average-wise, Chris Godwin was up there, but he got hurt early.
Yeah, yep.
And Nico missed multiple weeks. He was on IR. Like the guys on IR that if we were to take all of them out, we still missed Kamara, Robinson. But then after that, Jacobs is probably the next big one that we missed. And yeah, I missed Jacobs even though I cheered for him because his season was not. So if you look at his total touchdowns, did I not click on the right one? Never mind. That was receiving. I don't know why they had it stacked like that. Going through up until week 9 bye week, Josh Jacobs had 3 touchdowns. Since then, he has had 8.
That's kind of wild.
So, yeah, in the last 4 weeks, he's had 1 touchdown, 3 touchdowns, 1 touchdown, 3 touchdowns. So he definitely turned it up. And I traded for him week 10, and Glick got Tony Pollard. So neither of us made the playoffs in that league, but we exchanged players, and my player did better. So I think I win the season. Al, make it happen. Give me money.
Oh, bro, I can't wait for Al.
Yeah, just a little fun.
This, and he's gonna fucking roast us for a redraft. He's like, "You guys forgot."
No, he's gonna sit there and he's gonna go my top 12, and then he's gonna list his roster in Champs League.
Yeah, probably. That sounds like something Al would do.
But yeah, no, Bijan. I think I forgot Bijan just because his season has been consistent, but it hasn't been like
overly
otherworldly,
flashy.
like Jamar and Saquon, who've racked up the big stats and everything.
And the Falcons have been pretty forgettable overall, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, Bijan's floor this season is 10, and his ceiling is 25, it looks like, or 29 against New Orleans. But yeah, he hasn't had like a big 3-game or 3-touchdown game, anything like that. Kamara, kind of a similar situation where he started really hot, and then he faded. Not faded, but he... he hasn't scored a touchdown since week 6. So he's kind of fizzled out in that regard. Who else did we forget? Josh Jacobs, I mentioned just how he came on hot late. I think the biggest surprise to me is seeing Brock Bowers up there at like the top 20 as a rookie and a tight end.
It is interesting, isn't it? Especially, I don't know. He's obviously not quite the Sam Laporte of this year because Sam Laporte had quite the year, but I mean, no one's really talking about Brock Bowers, but there he is,
I do believe he's actually having a better year than Laporte did last year.
Really? Shows how little I know.
Maybe on just receptions, though. I don't know if it's fantasy points or whatnot. But
I only care about fantasy, Josh. Who cares about real football?
Yeah. Dum-dum. But yeah, so that was that little activity. I'm just going to coast the rest of the way.
I know, that was enjoyable. That was fun. I appreciate that. I appreciate it up until the point where we just get absolutely roasted by one of our friends. But otherwise, yeah, great. How did I accidentally close my show notes? Oh, well, let me open that up real quick. But yeah, I mean,
moving on to the grain of salties.
there we go.
Gar,
I
how much sodium have you ingested?
Yeah, Josh. Last week
no.
was it was a 4-4 week. Well, not overly. I mean, obviously there's an extra layer of salt just because it's like the final regular season week, right? But if I were to evaluate just the week itself, it was a 4-4 week. Not a good week certainly, but not a terrible week. That puts me at, for the regular season on my fantasy leagues, that puts me at 55 and 57 overall as they read in the leagues. That'd be batting .491. I only made the
Hall of Fame in
playoffs.
baseball.
What's that?
Hall of Fame in baseball.
Well, that's better than nothing. Of my 7 non-guillotine leagues, I made the playoffs in 3 of them. 2 of them I came in second place and I got the bye, so that's nice. One of them I came in 5th place. That's the redraft league. One of them I came in 7th, but there was literally 6, 7, and 7 teams, and I lost at the very end because someone had a blow-up score that dropped me out of the points for ranking, which kind of pissed me off. But you know what? It's literally out of my control. But I should have made the playoffs in 4 leagues. Only made it in 3. 2 first-round buys is nice. So we'll see what I can accomplish in the redraft league, which we'll talk about in a moment. Using the intellectual property of Joshua Allen Bunker Incorporated for week 14, I would have gone 33 and 40 for just a 45 win percentage. Overall in the season, I would have gone 621 and 580. That's be batting 517. But only one of my leagues was above a 70% win percentage. 2 more in the 50s, one just above 60. So, this was not, again, we've talked about it all year, but this was just not a fantasy season to write home about, unfortunately for me. And I know your fate is somewhat similar, so I'm interested to see how many playoffs you made. And I'm interested to see what your postseason looks like. I know you're going to deflate these balls. I know you're going in the dynasty, but how salty were you this past week, Josh? And then how sweet or salty will your fantasy playoffs be this year?
Well, I went 2 and 5, so another
Brutal.
Josh week.
Ending with a whimper.
Yep, the 2 leagues that I won in were the only 2 that I actually paid too much attention to, though. So there's that. Those were the Deflate These Balls League and then the Hidden Oaks Dynasty. Combined record in those 2 leagues of 18 and 2, if we were to use the intellectual property of Joshua Allen Bunker Incorporated. But I don't just play in those 2 leagues. I play in other ones. And if we were to add those other games to it, instead of 18 and 2, I would be a total of 21 and 32. So it was a fun week overall, but at this point in the season, it actually, to me, I think it's better because I knew I was eliminated in playoffs in all those other leagues. And so that is one thing. I will say taking home the most points against in the Hood League for 10 grand or whatever it is this year. That's great.
10 grand for sure, buddy.
And then last night, there was definitely a moment where I had a very, very heated AI message typed up where I just typed up, if I would have gone into Chat GPT or whatever, what are they, Gemini? I had a training on this for work because they said that AI is going to help with my resume writing and teaching resumes. I just laughed at them. But so I just typed up, insult a smelly doctor man with stupid luck with a very over talented roster, barely surpassing me in points for. And I was going to let ChatGPT just kind of roll with it. But that didn't happen. I did take the most points for in the Hidden Oaks Dynasty League, and suck it, Connor.
I'm sure Connor will listen to this for sure.
Barely made the playoffs, most points for.
So looking to so you've only made the playoffs in 2 leagues. How do you think you'll do? You have a bye in the Deflate These Balls League. You're going to repeat and take the pot. Do you think... Well, we'll start with the Dynasty League, or the Hidden Oaks Dynasty League. You limit in the playoffs with the most points for. How do you think you'll do? Connor's the team to beat, undoubtedly. But do you think you got a chance at the ship?
Well, I'm in the dance, so there's still a chance. And if I do win, I'd probably take a little bit of a prance. But,
Jesus.
Honestly, it's a hit and miss. I'm 8 and 6 in that league. It was, every other type of week for just up and down all week. I think I had week high or second highest points half the weeks, and then week low like a third of the season, and then the remaining was just kind of middling. So it was just like, well, which team's going to show up?
I mean, if
Obviously, I didn't have Puka for a lot of the season.
Sure.
So that didn't help. Mix and I had missed quite a bit of time. And so those two guys being back hopefully helps my case in that league. But yeah.
What about,
how about you, Gar?
Well, I mean,
the perennial tank to bye week?
Yeah, what's up, brother? Yeah, everyone doubted me, but I came in second place this year. But no, looking back to you, Josh, looking at your just last 3 weeks in the Hidden Oaks Dynasty League using the intellectual property Joshua Allen Bunker Incorporated, you're 9-0, 9-0, and 7-2. So that's 25-2 in the past 3 weeks. So you don't feel like you're getting hot right at the right time? I mean, if there's any time to get hot, you're doing it right now, buddy.
Well, yeah, I mean, you could say that, but if you look at Victoria's Secret, I got hot right out the gate and went 10-1, and I finished 67 and 87. So it's it can change in the drop of a dime. Somebody gets hurt the first series, that just eliminates that option. Yeah, well, I am getting hot. It probably helps that week after the week 11 disappointment of my team, I did go and I took every single one of my players' children and put them in a ball pit. And then filled that ball pit with gasoline and said, "Win me some games."
Jesus. Okay. Well, that's
it wasn't
one way
real
to handle
gasoline.
your business. Oh, what was it?
Turpentine. Is that a real thing? I feel like that's something that's toxic as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I've heard that negatively connotated before for sure.
Yeah, but no. NSA, NBA, CSI. I did not actually do that. If you're listening.
All right. And then maybe you just talked about it, but deflate these balls. You gonna take the ship in that one? You gonna repeat the pot?
Buddy, if I take the ship in that league, you guys should be embarrassed because I may have I went 11-3 and I limped into the playoffs. That's how pathetic that team is right now. I'm looking at it and I'm just like, how did I win last year? And then I'm like, how am I winning this year? And if I play Al every week, all I need to do is put Juwan Jennings in because apparently that's all he does is score touchdowns against Al. But I don't believe I will. I don't think I'd see him until the championship based on seedings. But yeah, overall, it would be nice to win. Like I said, week 6 when my entire season was just fizzled out in every league. If I win the championship or the deflate these balls league again and I clear that pot and delete the league, I would consider this season a success. Great success.
I would sure hope so. Okay, back to me then. So I just slapped my mic. Sorry, audio listeners. We'll talk about the Hidden Oaks League in a second because I want us to just talk about that for a moment as it's our league of record for the pod. I think I don't think I have a chance at the Hidden Oaks Dynasty. Like, it's fun to make the playoffs. It's fun to have been tanking for 2-3 years, and then seeing what my team can finally do. Coming in second for the year, that's nice. I've been limping more so recently. Not like you have. I've been looking at the past 3 weeks. I've been 3-6, 4-5, 5-4. So that would be 12 and 15. So not nearly as good as you. I'm whimpering into the playoffs, but I had such a solid earlier part of the season that second round or first round bye for me is nice. So I don't think I have any shot at the ship. It would be nice to play in the ship just to get $40 or whatever for second, but my hopes are not high for the dynasty. In the redraft league, I don't think my hopes are high either, but like I said, we'll talk about it in a sec. My only hopes here, I think, is the Jerome Bettis League. That's my uncle's, bus driver-esque league. It's filled with bus drivers. My mom's husband's in there. I went 1/3 using the intellectual property Joshua Allen Bunker Incorporated. I went 113-41, so that's batting 734 essentially. That's a pretty good win percentage, and I don't know. I just have had a lot of luck in this league. First place, the championship, I believe the champion gets like $600 or something. And then also the champion has first dibs at being the commissioner the next year because we do it. The champion can be the commissioner next year if they want. And the commissioner gets to pay half of the league fee. So that would be $80 instead of the $160. So it'd be essentially like a $680 value for winning that league because I would be the commissioner again. So yeah, that would definitely net me a positive, but all it takes is one unlucky game, and I get foiled. But I think my only hopes for a championship are in that Jerome Bettis League. So of my 3 playoff teams, I'm really only counting on one, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Josh, moving on to talking about more hood-centric stuff. Do you happen to know Oh, you do. Who won the last? So last week you did not have the side bet ready, and then also we have one more side bet for week 14. Can you tell us who won the last two side bets?
Well, week 13 we had Derek who won it. I did go through and do all the targets prior to the pod, so I really hope that I got it added up right. But even if I messed up by one or two here and there, I don't think I did a 12-point error because Derek had 58 targets. Second place was Eric with 46.
Jesus,
Unfortunately, Eric, you did not get Jamar Chase's 18 target week this week. But Derek, I think, had like 19 or 3 guys with like 15 plus targets. I think Brock Bowers had 18. I mean, you came in third with 44, and 17 of those were David Njoku. So, yeah. I was at the bottom with 29, but no big deal there. And then coming into this week, we had a tie between myself and Garrett with 14 points. I was like trying to come up with a tiebreaker, trying to be as impartial as I can in all of them. And I just decided whoever has had the worst season, can I have it?
Impartial.
Yep. So impartial there. And I'm pretty sure that is actually Garrett. So
did either of the teams score a touchdown? Because I guess I would go by, next thing I would do is be like sexy stats. Like, did either of the teams have a touchdown or a safety?
You know, now that you mentioned that. So I was going to say, what would your next tiebreaker be? But yours is touchdown, safety.
Well, it would be if either of them scored a touchdown, like if one scored a touchdown and the other didn't, I'd give it to the touchdown one. After that, I would consider safety. After that, I think I would go interceptions, like which defense had more interceptions. After that, I think I would do like fumble recoveries. After that, I would do sacks. So I don't know, I would just go down the list of stats until one of the teams had more than the other. That's what I would think, at least. And I genuinely have no idea I don't even know which either defenses you guys have. So,
so he had New Orleans, which had an interception and a block, and I had Tampa Bay, who had an interception and a fumble recovery.
I think I would give it to you then, just since they had interception and a fumble recovery. Although block field goals, that's tough. I don't know. Do you want me to
I was going to say, what I would do is, give it to. We'll have a two-tier tiebreaker. The team that finished worst in the rankings and the team that allowed the least amount of points to their opponent in that game.
Ooh, that's good.
So congrats, Garrett. That was you in both of them because your team stunk worse than mine somehow.
Oh, no. All right, so Garrett is the official winner. I'm going to erase your name on the notes just so I pay the right person. Okay. All right, sweet. Well, Josh, speaking of who had a bad season, usually we did this along the way during the season, but I didn't. I just wanted to do it all in one lump here, and then we'll do it for the playoffs as well. But, not everyone made the playoffs, of course, and we went through the playoff scenarios a little bit last week, but there are already 4 eliminated teams going into last week, so we'll just go through all 6 teams that have officially been eliminated now that the playoff fantasy playoffs are upon us. So we'll honor them as we always do in Hunger Games death fashion. We will first recognize the fall of one Brian Knupp, then Garrett Flint, Joshua Mitchell,
missed me,
Bradley Knupp, Jesse Morissette, and Jeremy Pribernow. All right, that's Jeremy in 6th. It's got to be, or in 7th, right? Yeah, it is. Woo! 6 eliminated teams. 6 teams moving on, Josh. And just real quickly, we don't have to sit here and do a deep analysis, but the pods have been kind of light lately, so we might as well throw a little extra content out there. We have 2 playoff matchups this week because we have a 6-team playoff bracket. So the two matchups this week are, Josh, me and the 5th seed versus Derek and the 4th seed, and then we have who the fuck is Cup of Flowers? Cup of Flowers versus Is it T? T in the 6th seed versus Eric, Devontae Not Like Us in the 3rd seed. Both Nikita and the Hammers will be enjoying their first round bye. Josh, looking at the T versus Eric matchup first. Eric was 20-8, T was 15-13, barely made the playoffs, but who do you, just looking roughly at the players, of course they'll change their lineups between now and Thursday and now and Sunday. Who do you like in this matchup? Just your initial gut feeling or your quickest analysis feeling?
Well, I feel like I got to go with Eric there just because he was the 3rd 20-8 team. So he only missed out on the bye by 40 points to Nikita's as a tiebreaker there. So congrats there. So he's, being that, and then T just kind of limping into the playoffs at the end there, I think because it was between him and Jeremy at the end. And so I would have to just go with Eric. Plus PPR League, his players seem to get a little bit more catches with Malik Neighbors and all that fun stuff.
All right, you're favoring Eric in that matchup. And now, Josh, tread very carefully, but we have me at 17-11 versus Derek at 19-9. Who do you like between Derek and I here?
Well, I actually like you. I do think that your team is better. A lot of it has to do with the fact that Russell Wilson and then your quarterback is better than, or your quarterback is Josh Allen, going up against kind of the Detroit defense, which doesn't necessarily have the best pass defense. But then Derek has kind of been streaming quarterbacks. Josh Allen just had that 50-pointers. You put up 185 against me or whatever with George Pickens in your lineup, and he didn't even play last week. So that was fun. But
was he like a late time scratch? Because I swear I'd check my lineups like Sunday morning.
Yeah, I think he was like officially declared out like at 10 o'clock or something like that.
Gotcha. Okay. I don't feel that bad then.
And he might miss this week as well. But even then, looking in that, like he gets out, you put Jackson Smith and Jigba in there, and then you put Jonathan Taylor in your flex. Oh no. Derek doesn't have the depth as much, so he's streaming quite a bit. Yeah. So there's that. It's funny. I offered him a trade midway through the season, like I don't know, probably week 5 or so. So we knew CMC was on IR. I offered him CMC for Rashid Rice and J.K. Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins is now on IR. Rashid Rice has been on IR for a while. It just would have been an exchange of injuries. But yeah, I do think that you're going to beat Derek there.
Okay, Derek. All right, I love that. And then do you think you're probably not overly familiar with the Hammers team off the top of your head, but who do you think is going to take the ship? I'm sure you've been hearing about Nikita all season long. She's been killing it. And then, of course, the Hammers are the number 1 seed. Who do you think, it doesn't have to be between those two, but just also considering them, since you didn't just sit here and look at their teams real quick, who do you think has the best shot at the ship just before the playoffs start here?
Well, I don't want to... I do think, looking at the teams that I looked at, I think you have a chance. I think that you're probably up there. Hammer's up there. Eric is up there. Nikita, I'm sorry, but you've gotten 4th place, I think, the last 3 years, 2-3 years. And even with the bye week, you could get 4th place if you lose this week or the next week. So I just think that the trend is likely to continue. And I'm not just saying that because I jinxed you by saying your team was so good earlier in the year. And then you started losing, but we'll pretend like you're going to get 4th place. Even though I think that you do have the potential to score or do a lot more with that because Chase Brown has been killing it. Joe Burrow has been killing it. Yeah. I don't know. I think that honestly, as far as it goes, T is probably the least likely to win it. And then after that, it would probably be Derek, Eric, you, Hammer, Nikita.
Okay, well, you know what? Josh is considering me a top
and by
3 team.
you,
I'll take it.
Yeah, you, Hammer, and Nikita are probably a coin flip, 3-sided coin flip.
I don't even want, for whatever reason, I just got a cursed image of a 3-sided coin in my head, and I hate it. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
That's terrible. All right. Well, I appreciate your insight, Josh. We will see what happens. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about? We're not doing the NFL player exchange this week. We can touch it on again next week. We still have a couple more weeks. I saw you did input the numbers for the season-long studs and duds, but I think we usually go through the playoffs, don't we, or no?
Oh, I mean, beginning of the year, I said full season, but because that's, I think, or the regular season, because I thought that's what the projections were. I mean, we could do a both one, but
I mean, it makes no difference to me. I saw you put the numbers in. If you'd like to talk about that before the show ends, or we can talk about it next week, doesn't matter. We can just leave the numbers the same. But we're just sitting here at 35 minutes, so I want to be respectful to you. I know we've been doing pretty much half an hour all year, so if you want to talk more about either what the Packers did this week, what the Vikings did this week, you want to talk about season-long studs and duds. Otherwise, we can save some of that stuff for next week.
We could save some of that for next week. We could try and figure out what their predictions are for ESPN if they go through playoffs or not.
Sure.
Because if they don't go through playoffs, then my studs were bad, and
your duds were killer.
Yeah, my duds were killer. Your duds, none of them are duds. One of them. They're all duds. Never mind. I'm an idiot.
Appreciate that.
Numbies is hard.
Yeah, looking at the numbers, I definitely saw that you did better than I did in the game of it. So you killed me from what I've seen so far.
And we put what, $5,000 on this one?
I believe that was the bet we made. Yes, it was $5,000. Correct.
Yep, doll hairs. Got it.
But all right, Josh, we'll go ahead and do this just for our boys in purple. Josh, are the Vikings gonna go to the Super Bowl before we go?
I hope so, just so they'd be the first team to lose 5. No, I'm just kidding. Honestly, I don't know. The
Lions are getting pretty beat up.
I have to just keep my TV. I'm going to have to buy like an 18K TV to try and find the horseshoe that's crammed in their asses right now. Cause it's gotta be somewhere. I mean, I don't know. Sam Darnold putting up, the only thing that I'm cheering for is off-season quarterback controversy. And then inevitably
making the wrong decision.
Sam Darnold leaves and JJ McCarthy comes in and is, a Johnny Manziel, Daniel Jones, Jamarcus Russell lookalike.
Don't you fucking put that on me, Ricky Bobby. You piece of shit.
That would be, I would walk down the streets of Minneapolis going, woo!
You're just like me. Trash!
That's me talking to you, Josh.
Yep.
Are the Packers going to be in the playoffs? Are we going to have 3 NFC North teams?
I mean, yeah, I think they'd have to implode, basically, because aren't they still 2 games ahead?
I mean, they're doing well. I'm just curious how you feel about it, and then we'll go.
Yeah, I think they'll be in it. I think that they're going to have
good?
a tough slide ahead, but
I
mean, they'll probably beat Detroit in the NFC Championship game to advance to the Super Bowl. And then,
tough sled, huh?
And then probably only win by 30 in the Super Bowl. And yeah, it'll just be a rough offseason of me having to deal with people saying you only beat the Chiefs by 30. And yeah.
Alrighty. Well, we will stay tuned. We'll keep doing the podcast at least definitely through the fantasy championship. So we got 3 more weeks ahead of us, at least 15, 16, 17. Yeah. So we'll for sure keep going. What's that?
Some of us have that many. I only have 2.
Oh, no. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you to our fans who continue to rock with us. We know the show has been a little bit lighter this year, but you know what? Sometimes the seasons go up and the seasons go down, but we're still here almost each and every week. Every once in a while, life gets in the way, but the podcast is still going 7 seasons strong, and we appreciate the people who still listen. Josh, go ahead and say go Packers so I can play the outro song, and we can go bye-bye.
Go Packers. Hey, Gar, what are some shows that have gone 7 seasons that are just, 3 seasons too long?
Ooh, probably a lot of them. Why?
I'm just curious.
Is this you officially retiring from the podcast?
Well, I'm just wondering when we jump the shark, as they say in the show business.
Oh, I mean, I'm sure at this point we've become the villain. For sure.
Yeah, are we like Law & Order SVU? Are we going to hit like 45 seasons and then, people are just like, oh, that thing's still going?
I mean, maybe, but also the fun thing about football is, we kind of talk about the same concepts, and I'm sure like our philosophies or our preferences for things haven't changed much, or how we analyze things, but every week is a new slate of football games. Every year is a new slate of teams, kind of, so there's always new things to talk about, right? So the content will always be there. It's just how much motivation we have, I think.
6.
All right. Well, goodbye, everybody.
Yep. Bye. Go Packers.